It's come to our attention that there's a significant inconsistency with one of Annabeth's most prominent magic items, that being her New York Yankees cap, which renders her invisible whenever she puts it on. You don't want to know how long that took for it still to look that bad. This has been a staple of her character since her introduction all the way back in The Lightning Thief, and she's used it regularly for years since her 12th birthday. But in Chalice of the Gods, Percy talks about the side effects of wearing it. She loans Percy the cap to sneak into Zeus's palace in order to return the Chalice of Ganymede, but Percy describes an uncomfortable itching sensation down his shoulders and back when he wears it. His exact account is, quote, "Suddenly I felt like I had termites swarming all over my skin. Annabeth had never told me that her hat generated a bad case of the creepy crawlies. No wonder she only used it when she had to. Leave it to Athena to make a magical gift with a built-in disincentive." What's so interesting about this, though, is that Percy's worn the cap before. In The Lightning Thief, she loans it to him on the bus in order to evade the Furies, and he later uses it again in Titan's Curse to eavesdrop on Atlas and Luke. And he's not the only one to use it. Carter Kane, for one, used it in The Crown of Ptolemy, but both times Percy wears it, he never refers to any of the side effects, and in the Chalice of the Gods seems to be the first time that it's ever been addressed. So what's really going on here? If you guys end up liking what we come up with and want to leave a quick like or a comment, that would go a long way towards helping the channel grow and would help support the artists that you see behind you, so your support would absolutely mean the world to us. But let's dive in. The cap itself was a mainstay in the first series. During Heroes of Olympus, Annabeth stopped wearing it, and we find out later that it lost its power. Specifically, Athena was the one who stripped it of its power, and it was revealed that Annabeth came across her mother in the weeks leading up to the voyage of the Argo II, and when she did this, Athena was split between her Greek and her Roman forms. Many of the gods were incapacitated during the Heroes of Olympus because of the warring needs of their Greek and Roman identities ripping them apart, and some were more effective than others. Someone like Aphrodite, who didn't change very much when the balance of power moved to Rome, was fine. She kept her composure and told Annabeth that she didn't change too much during the transfer between Greece and Rome, so she was relatively undisturbed. But the more a god changed, the more severe the division between their personalities was. This is why Athena was particularly unstable. Thanks to Rhena, we know that Athena was one of the goddesses hit the hardest because in Greece, she was a revered war goddess who was highly respected on the battlefield. She blessed Greek soldiers in times of warfare and was a paragon of Greek military power. But in Rome, this role went to Rhena's own mother, Bellona, who took on many of Athena's defining roles. Minerva, the Roman form of Athena, was downgraded to a goddess of crafts and was not respected nearly as much by Rome. So her identities as Athena and Minerva were significantly different. So when we meet Minerva, she is ruthless towards Annabeth and vengeful towards Romans. She hates what she's become and orders Annabeth to avenge her by pillaging Rome and defeating the Romans who turned her into this abomination, since she sees herself as a complete embarrassment to what she used to represent. This led to a terrible falling out where Minerva stripped Annabeth's cap of its power and rendered it useless throughout the events of Heroes of Olympus. In the Mark of Athena, Annabeth says that she tries it on every morning, hoping that its powers would eventually return, but to no avail. In the Staff of Serepsis, however, we see that Athena restored the cap's power so Annabeth can aid Sadie Kane in defeating Serepsis. Later, as mentioned, Carter used it in the Crown of Ptolemy, and it's obviously active again in Chalice of the Gods. So it is possible that when the power was restored, it came back with new side effects. Is this a new addition that only came about after Athena's identity crisis and the defeat of Gaia? If this is the case, then we have to wonder exactly why she would do this. What's surprising, however, is that neither Carter nor Annabeth make any reference to the itchy side effects when they wear the cap and the Staff of Serepsis, or the Crown of Ptolemy, even though this is after the events of Heroes Olympus. When Percy tries to return the chalice, he is found out by Athena, who has the opportunity to sell him out to Zeus. Instead, however, she puppeteers a situation where Ganymede and Percy both wind up in the kitchen so Percy can return the chalice, and for the first time, she's proactive when it comes to helping Percy in a context that doesn't revolve around the potential end of the world. They were on the same side against Kronos and Gaia, but this is the first time she decides to help him just for the benefit of him, and there wouldn't be any dire consequences if she betrayed him. Annabeth even suspects as much, claiming that her mother is finally beginning to understand. So then this brings up another question. Is it possible that Athena put in a specifically designed safeguard just for Percy after the Heroes of Olympus series? If this is the case, then it would mean that Athena returned the powers to the cap, but built in her own personal insult to Percy, since at this point, she still did not approve of him dating her daughter. What's particularly interesting is that Percy described the itching as a swarm of termites crawling up and down his skin, but this is not where Athena's mind would have gone. When we look at what the children of Athena find terrifying, it's not termites, but spiders, and this might have been the design behind the cap. Percy doesn't have a debilitating fear of spiders, so his mind didn't immediately go to spiders when he put on the cap. But the reason why we say this is important is because this is exactly something Athena would do. This is a curse that is personalized and was designed by the mother of all spiders, which is circumstantial evidence that Athena built in the side effect personally. In the Chalice of the Gods, however, she is starting to learn how to accept Percy as her daughter's boyfriend, so even though this might have been her own subtle slight to Percy, it might not be an aspect of the cap in the future if this theory is to be believed. Normally, Athena is not driven by emotion, and she's usually not a vindictive or vengeful goddess. She's tactical, logical, but if there is anyone who can get under her skin, it's Poseidon. Putting a personalized curse on the cap just for Percy would be petty, and to anyone else it might be beneath Athena, but a son of Poseidon might be an exception. It is important to address, however, that Annabeth almost certainly would have referenced the itching sensation in the staff of Serapis, since we know it didn't do this during the Lightning Thief or the Titan's Curse. And even though the book wasn't told from Carter's point of view, the Crown of Ptolemy still has room for Carter to at least quip about it. So that's our breakdown on why we think Athena gave Percy her own little insult in the Cap of Invisibility when she restored its power after the Heroes of Olympus. But as always, let us know what you think. Do you think we're on the right track? We absolutely love this series and we love talking about it, so jump in on the conversation below. We'd love to have you. Thank you for joining us as always, and take care, my friends.